So this is the dissection of a female Anopheles gambi. This is the mosquito responsible for the transmission of malaria, and we're going to dissect the midgut, which is this. You can see it here because this female was blood fed a couple of days ago, so this area here is the blood that has been digested. So to do that, we're going to cut the head off here. Then we're going to cut this last bit of the abdomen here, the kind of towards the last two segments here, and then we're gonna push the contents out, and then we'll try to dissect the salivary glands. So the first thing is using our dissection needles. Oops, can you pause it? Or okay, because it's going to refocus automatically, but let's see if it doesn't. Okay, so head first. That's not very difficult. There we go. That's the head being cut. So let's put the head on one side here, and then we're going to cut the last two segments here. See, that's exposing a bit of the eggs that, let me show you. So let's get closer just to have a nice look at the organs. So here we have some of the eggs that are starting to develop. So what we're going to do now is we push the contents of the gut. There we go. Look, this is the ovaries. These are the developing eggs. So let's push that out. And that's the eggs here. There's a bit of blood there, but that is a midgut. Let's get rid of the eggs. Well, it's not eggs yet. These are oocytes or developing eggs. Let's put them on the side. And here, this is a mosquito midgut. Here we have the blood that has been digested. This structure here, this is called the crop. The crop is a storage compartment where the sugar meal, anything that is sugar based, is stored. So this is the crop. You can see, oh, let's get closer. Look at a closer look to look at those nice peristaltic movements. See. Actually, I think that what we are looking at this is not peristalsis. I think this is part of the pump muscles that allow the mosquito to feed on blood. So I think those are involuntary movements because, well, the insect was killed, but you know, although the animal is dead, the tissue is still alive. Let's have a look at the rest. So that is effectively the midgut with the blood that has been digested. These white structures here, these are called Malpighian tubules. Let me use the needle to kind of untangle them a wee bit. It's not the tubules that are moving, it's the gut. That is actually peristalsis, but those structures, that's better. The Malpighian tubules, they are the equivalent in insects to our kidneys. So they are responsible for removing toxins, detoxifying toxic molecules in the insects. Oh, that's peristalsis. So this is the posterior. Well, this is the end of the midgut. So there is some peristalsis here, but that's Malpighian tubule. So that's like insect kidneys. they have that the detoxifying job. So that's the midgut. Now let's see if we can get some nice salivary glands, and to do that we're going to move this light a bit. So that's a mosquito head. Maybe we should have a quick look. So can you put the lights off? There we go. We get less glare without the light. So let's see if we can do something with this, so I can show you a couple of structures. So right, we need to be careful because this is very tiny. So these, okay, so let's see if we can see the three of them. So we have this things called palps, or pulps, depending how you pronounce it, P-A-L-P-S, pulps, which are quite long. And so this is antenna. In males the antenna are quite, they're massive and covered with these hairs, because they have this function of detecting pheromones and other female molecules for mating. So they're huge, but in females they're small. So the proboscis is the actual piercing structure, but we can't see it here without, it's between these two palps. Oh, there it is. So that's one palp, that's the proboscis there, and that's another pulp. So that's the proboscis in the middle, and the actual piercing bit is inside, because this is like a sheet. So inside this is the actual piercing structure that goes inside the skin. Right, let's go and have a look at the rest of the body, which is here. Now, another important organ that we study, oh, these are the ovaries. So you see, they were tiny when before the females started to feed, maybe 1/5 of the size, but now in just a couple of days they've grown a lot. And had the mosquito being alive for a few more days, then they would have increased their size significantly and then turn into actual eggs. Right, let's put this away. Okay, so here's the rest of the mosquito. The other interesting structure we would like to have a look at is the salivary glands. So the Plasmodium parasite, once it leaves the gut, it enters the mosquito circulatory system and goes to the salivary glands. So you can look for malaria parasites inside the salivary glands. So to do that, we're going to open the thorax, so that there is a there we go, there is a joint here, so we can open, there we go. You see, it's like a cap. So these things that we are exposing here, these are the flight muscles, okay, this white tissue here. But you see this tiny bit here, this translucent bit here. Let me get closer. I think that's bits of the salivary glands. I'm not sure, it could be part of the, and we're too far away, but yeah, that looks like salivary glands. So let's try to dissect those bad boys. So now that we remove that pronotum, that cap here, where is it? Okay, now we can have some fun. So there's lots of the flight muscles here are quite big, so let's try and split this open. Let's get rid of the we don't need the abdomen, so let's just get rid of, okay, by abdomen, and let's get closer to what's important to us. Let's fix the light a bit, see if we can get, Okay. So the two main tissues that we'll find in the thorax are the flight muscles. You see all this whitish kind of cottony, stringy tissue. That is the flight tissue. That's the flight muscle. And here, let's open this. Yeah, there we go. Salivary glands there. So mixture of salivary glands, which has, let me see where I can't. So you would take this tissue and transfer it to a slide and look for parasites. You could also transfer, so you would transfer to separate microscope slide this bit of tissue here and the gut to look for Plasmodium parasites. And so now that we finished, let's have a look at the whole thing again. So that's a clean, very thorough insect dissection where you have the head here. We look at the different sensing and feeding structures. The thorax where you have the wings attached, still the salivary glands, and then we dissected out the midgut, which we have here, which still has the Malpighian tubules and the crop attached, and finally the ovaries with developing eggs. So this was a dissection of an Anopheles gambi mosquito.